Welcome back to the next section of Visual Studio Code and Docker training. In this section, we're going to cover how to write Docker files with command completion and being able to query Docker Hub directly from Visual Studio Code. Let's take a look. We can query Docker Hub when we open a Docker file. So when I create a new Docker file, I just call it capital D Docker file and then jump into the file and start editing. As you see here, we can actually go from, and if I do CTRL Space, it actually queries Docker Hub and asks me for, which version I want or what the image name is, and it autocomplete, which is really quite cool. Because many times I find myself, jumping into Docker Hub, looking for the tags or looking for things. And this kind of just simplifies the process, and I could do it all through Visual Studio Code without having to context switch. The next thing we can do is command completion. Again, we can do command completion. So as you're typing a command, it asks you, do you want to use CMD, and then it gives you the example. And then if you actually click on the actual command, it gives you instructions on how to use this command. So it gives you like documentation within Visual Studio Code as well to understand exactly how this command should work and what are the references. It's very helpful because, again, the Docker documentation is amazing, but again, it's context switching from Visual Studio Code out to Docker documentation and coming back. Whereas with this extension, the Docker extension, we can do everything within Visual Studio Code. I can't stress this enough. Less context switching is more productive. All right, in the next section is the lab. We're going to learn how to write Docker files with command completion and query the Docker Hub. Join me in the next section.